Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing an overview on the warrior subclass. He's your warrior's warrior. Get it? Okay, that was lame. Let's move on. I don't personally have a whole ton of experience with the warrior. I've gotten one to level 20 as you can see here on horror difficulty, so I can give a bit of an overview, but I'd like to say that I got a lot of this information that I'm going to say from other helpful people in the Discord. The warrior is your classic sword and board fighter. He's listed as being the master of blocking in the character creation panel, and he does have the best chance to block and typically AC and etc. But I just want to put this out there first and foremost, if you choose to play a warrior subclass, you should be in for a long and tough grind. You're going to have to get good at utilizing corners and doorways to funnel your enemies. Getting surrounded on the warrior when you're fighting enemies at level is a no-no. The warrior's class skill is the ability to repair his gear on the fly, but you should know that it will lower your gear's durability by 1 point every time. This can be useful in certain game modes like Iron Man or Speedrun if you're wanting to save repair oils, and blacksmith oils are able to give you back the durability that you lost using it. First, I'd like to talk about some potential traits that can be good for the warrior. For example, heavy-handed will give you a large damage bonus to your physical melee, but it will also reduce all of your spell levels. This can be pretty good though, considering that you're not going to be relying on your spells all that much as a warrior. Outside of using teleport and some walls for positioning, you probably won't be leaning all that much on your spell damage. Secondly, you have Weird, which is going to give you a very large bonus to life, but again is going to reduce your spell efficacy and make them all cost a lot more. Finally, we have Fechtmeister, which I've been told by some veterans in the Discord is extremely good and it scales well into late game, though it will make your earlier game apparently tougher. I've also seen it recommended in the Discord that for most melees you can take Thick-Skinned, as it's a 30% chance to reduce incoming damage by 80%, and remember that this can act as a 30% chance to avoid being stunned as well, apart from the damage reduction. Just be aware that there's an accuracy penalty you will incur that you will have to adjust for. A game changer that you may want to consider though is known as Full Contact. Full Contact makes it so that range mobs will not retreat when you close in on them. This is kind of a double-edged sword in that you are going to have to take the full brunt of whatever range pack is attacking you until you kill them, but you won't have to do with the frustration of chasing them down. So again, this one is up to your preference. Next, we'll take a look at perks and synergies for the warrior. He has the standard perks that most classes do, as well as synergies, but we'll take a look at some specific ones that he has as well. The first one I notice is Stonewall, which will reduce your chance to be knocked back. Tuck Tails will increase your block rating. And then you have Shield Parry, which will reduce your minimum chance to get hit by monsters. A common thing that is said amongst the veterans in the TH Discord is that percent or scaling bonuses are typically the best perks, so something like Concussive Blows might be good in that it has a large percentage chance to stun monsters and keep them locked down, as well as Slayer and Expert Killer, which is going to give you crit rate, which I believe is very valuable going into late game. I've heard people say that they think defensive layers are actually the best thing to go for on a warrior going into late game, but that is probably up to experimentation, and I think you should try your own thing. They also have the ability to learn Vampirism and Blood Surge, which can increase your lifesteal and mana steal, which if you gear for it, might be something good, though I haven't tried it myself. Next, we'll take a look at some of the synergies that might be good. For example, we have Fatal Impacts, which will increase your critical damage as well as accuracy. I heard accuracy is sometimes a problem for warriors, so that might be good. You have Blood Thievery, this might increase your life-stealing potential. And then Inexorability, which scales off of your C level, which I think is generally a pretty good thing. This will give you all-around accuracy, melee damage, and armor class. The perks being required for it seem solid as well, in that it gives you accuracy and damage. I also found Strongheart to be potentially interesting. Given that you'll have a very large life pool, it could add up to be a lot of health once you've gotten it. Fury might also worth be investing in. Finally, we have the avoidance synergies that he has: improved evasion, extra avoidance, and hardened steel. These seem to give pretty decent flat percentage ratios to your survival skills. These are just some of the perks and synergies that stuck out to me as they might be good, but honestly, you would probably have to do your own research and play the class and ask some vets in Discord to get a full handle on all of this. One final perk that I'd like to add in is Augmented Healing. It can be extremely useful in that healing is probably the most useful spell that you will have on your warrior for keeping yourself topped up during and in between fights. Next, we'll talk a little bit about the warrior's gearing. The warrior will typically run a weapon for beast or demon slaying and then have a switch weapon for killing undead. This sword, for example, is my beast or demon slayer, and this mace I'll switch to when I have a large pack of undead to fight. Get used to using the V key a lot to switch your weapon on this guy, because you're going to have to if you want to kill things effectively. You also have the option of running a crossbow on one of your weapon switches. The crossbow hits very hard but is slow to fire. This can be compensated a bit for though if you can get attack speed on your gear. As long as you have the damage to cover it, this can be useful instead of chasing down mobs that are hard to catch. Taken from the TH3 Discord, it's said that attack speed doesn't stack. Quick will -1 frame, fast will -2, faster will -2.5, and fastest will -3 frames. While it won't add up to you ever firing a bow as fast as a rogue subclass, it will make a bit of a difference and help. Another thing that I'd like to mention is that obviously as a warrior, you're not going to have high magic, but you can still learn spells like Reflect, Teleport, and etc. if you save gear that you find with plus magic on it, put it on, and then learn the book that way. Once you've learned the spell, you have it. As long as there's nothing that's minusing your spell levels, you'll be able to use it, though expect its mana cost to be very high relative to what your very likely low mana pool will be. Now we'll take a brief moment to talk about stat allocation for the warrior and the defensive layers that you might want to go for. Typically, stun threshold as well as melee damage reduction are the top things to aim for on a warrior. If you rack up enough stun threshold, you also won't have to rely on hit recovery nearly as much, opening potential gearing options. After you've secured a decent amount of MDR and ST, I would recommend going for armor class, resistance, ADR, and DFE on the later difficulties. Overall, the warrior is a brutal but still fun class fantasy to play in my opinion. If you're able to take some punishment and are okay with doing a bit of a grind, then I say jump into it and give it your best. It is definitely a hard mode kind of character, but if you're signing up for a warrior subclass, you should be ready to deal with that fact anyways. And just a final note, and I know I'm repeating myself a little, but I want it to be very clear, this is not a comprehensive guide, this is not a you must do this to succeed kind of video. This is honestly just the things that I've learned a little bit about and some people have taught me in the Discord. So if there's things that I missed, or things that you think could be added, feel free to throw it in the comments and I'll take it into consideration. Either way, I hope you have fun grinding through the Hell 4 on your warrior.